two really radical things that NVC taught me is that when anyone is speaking to us, they're really only asking two things. And they're saying, please listen to me and thank you for meeting my needs. Those two words, please and thank you, have a deeper meaning now and have totally changed my life. One of the most profound changes that I've witnessed working with Scott is his depth of compassion and connection and empathy has really allowed me to be with others no matter what mood they're in, if they're angry, sad, celebrating, and I can feel and be with it, and I'm not afraid to connect no matter where they are. Even if they're angry at me, there's a need and a willingness to have this compassion and this feeling and share that with them. I remember one time I was in a workshop with Scott, and we were talking about feeling rejected, and that really wasn't a feeling. And I said, well, what are you talking about? My mother told me she wished she never had me, and I never felt loved, and I went on, and I was so justified. And Scott leaned over and he said, your mother never, never, never rejected you. And I'm like, what are you talking about? She told me that. And his heart just cracked open. He looked me in the eyes and he said, she was always, always, always just trying to get her needs met. And at that moment, I broke down crying because not only did I see that my mother never rejected me, nobody in my entire life ever rejected me. None of the men in my life, none of my friends, my parents, and my life radically changed because that was the most profound example and experience that everything we do is motivated by getting needs met. From that moment on, I really dedicated a lot of my time and effort to getting to know NVC, and that's why I'm so passionate about teaching it to others. It's really about self-love and ending the blame and shame. And I really feel fortunate to having met Scott and for Love Academy and the way that it's changing our lives radically. My boyfriend and I broke up a few weeks ago, about 3 weeks ago. And we decided to do a session with Scott, even though we didn't think there was any way that we were going to get back together. So we spent 1 hour speaking to Scott, and he encouraged us to do something he calls mornings and celebrations. So we did this exercise where we celebrated all the met needs in our relationship, and we also looked at all the unmet needs and went through a period of mourning about that. And he asked us to continue with this after the session, and we did. Another thing that he helped us realize that was, I think, one of the most profound shifts for us, I've shared this with a lot of people, when I was speaking to him about the things that I had blamed him for in the past, instead of saying, you did this, everything that I said began with, I told myself a story about you that went like this. And when I was able to shift into that, realizing that I had this veil that I was looking at him through that wasn't necessarily true. It was a judgment based on my past conditioning, my unmet needs. He was able to hear everything I said. And there was a love that got built, and he was able to tell me, I was telling myself a story about you, and I got curious, and I was like, really? What else did you tell yourself about me? And he went on, and we got into almost this joyous thing. 6 hours we spent telling ourselves the stories that we had made up. And we ended up in that one day of that practice getting back together with a deeper intimacy than we'd ever had before. So, tremendous gratitude, Scott. Thank you very much.